Joining me now is independent MP Dai Le. Dai, thanks for joining me. If this shipping crisis adds to inflation, how much of a problem would that be for the government?
Look, I've been on harping about the cost of living since I got elected, and I see that in my community here in Fowler and Western Sydney. And I think not just the shipping, but the transport as well. And that's why I have been calling for the last 2 years for the government to do something about the fuel excise tax cut, because that actually adds also to the cost of goods, delivering goods. So now that we have this crisis that's happening here, the shipping, international shipping, that certainly will add to the end users, their consumers. Here in my community, there's so many grocery stores and that have, stock food and packages that are imported in from overseas. So we will see, I have no doubt, see an increase in that. And I've just been listening to Chris Richardson. Obviously, he's the expert in this whole. He's the economist. So I'm just listening to him, and I think that we need to really address, local manufacturing when it comes to say, we don't rely too much on import goods, but Australians have been relying on import goods for so long. I don't know how we're going to shift our behaviour, and this is just, and of course, more financial pains for families, especially working families in Western Sydney and low socioeconomic areas like Fowler. I don't have the solution, Fiona, but I think there are some measures, small measures, and as Chris Richardson said, the government's just addressing symptoms. We're not really addressing the whole crisis around the cost of living. You mentioned the energy rebate. $300 for energy rebate for families, just one off, but energy bills will continue to rise. So how do we fix that whole infrastructure? The problem with energy keeps on rising. So yeah, I'm a simple, humble servant in the backbench representing Fowler. The government has a lot of the machineries, the experts working with them. Surely by now, they should look at what are some of the critical systematic issues that can be fixed in order to alleviate the cost of living pressures experienced by many working Australians and individuals.
You mentioned that you've been bringing up the fuel excise for some time. Has there been any movement on that? What sort of conversations have you had recently?
Well, the last conversation was, I think, a question that I asked probably towards the end of last year. And, the Prime Minister kept on saying, they haven't got that in the budget. But they have money in the budget for other things, such as the stationery tax cuts, which is quite welcome in my electorate. But I think if they look at giving a temporary relief for families, I think the fuel excise tax cut will actually be the most logical, because that impacts, trucks delivering food, trucks delivering goods to our community and across the country. So they are stubborn. They're not shifting and moving on that. And we have collected billions of dollars in fuel excise. So surely for temporary relief, the government should look at doing something about that in the next 12 months.
If inflation is still high when voters go to the polls, what do you think that will mean for Labor?
Well, I think the cost of living is going to impact Labor, especially in areas in low socioeconomic areas where Labor was supposed to promise to fix the problems for all Australians and provide cost of living pressures for individuals and families. I think people, if they actually on the ground, if they go across their electorates in Western Sydney in particular, like where I represent, you will find people are just telling us about, grocery bills, petrol prices, energy bills for small business as well as for individuals. So these are the common themes that I have gauged and got from my constituents when I go door knocking and finding from them what is it that's hurting them most, as well as the cost of childcare as well. So there's a lot there for the Labor, the Albanese government to really look at how they can address, and not just throwing money, a one-off rebate. I don't think that's going to solve the problem. It's pretty systematic, I think.
A lot of people feeling it. Dai Le, thank you so much.